Hello everyone, my name is Jimmy and welcome to The Last Lap. In today's video we're going to be breaking down everything from the Kansas playoff race, the second race in the first round of the NASCAR playoffs. But before we hop into the video, just want to quickly remind you guys, hit that like button and subscribe button. We greatly appreciate it if you did that. But let's go ahead and hop into the video. This is actually episode 194. It's crazy we've done that many episodes. That doesn't include like our vlogs and stuff, but 194 episodes is pretty cool. Coming up on that 200 mark here pretty soon. But anyways, Matthew, my friend and co-host, is joining me as always. And I don't know, Kansas just always seems to bite a lot of playoff contenders, and we definitely saw a lot of that today. But Matthew, how are you feeling before we go ahead and hop into everything?
Well, this weekend did not disappoint as we had the ending of the first round for the Truex series, and then the last regular season race for the Xfinity series, in which Parker Kligerman came up clutch, which I was very happy to see. And then, of course, we're in the second race in the first round of the Cup Series playoffs, and it did not disappoint in terms of which names had made up some ground and which names absolutely had a disaster of a day. So let's get right into it.
Yeah, it was actually a quadruple header in Kansas, the ARCA race. There were only two cars that finished on the lead lap for that race,
Oh,
which,
you don't have to
just
remind me.
explains how the ARCA series needs some work. But,
Yeah, it's
anyways,
literally garbage.
but yeah, let's go ahead and hop into the Cup recap. We're going to do like we did last week for Darlington. I'll go over the race recap, and then Matthew will go over the playoff standings and kind of go through the playoff drivers and how they did and how they all look going into the final race of the round. But, anyways, trouble struck really early, unfortunately, for Martin Truex Jr. He had a flat right rear tire, sent him into the wall, ended his day. I don't even think it was like 5 laps into the race. Martin Truex Jr., flat tire, boom, done. And he had a bad week at Darlington, just didn't run well, and then flat tire here. Austin Dillon and William Byron, they both had an issue almost at the exact same time. So Austin Dillon lost control of his car off of turn 2 and overcorrected it and hit the front of the car into the outside wall. Damaged his car pretty good. And then William Byron, he got loose off of turn number 2 and just kind of spun it down the backstretch. Didn't hit anything. He would be able to keep going. Kyle Larson and Bubba Wallace, they finished P1 and P2 in stage number 1. They both seemed very fast early on in this race. Bubba Wallace, no surprise at all, just because he won this race last year in the 45 car and has been strong in this next gen car at Kansas. And Christopher Bell had yet another slow pit stop. He actually had two slow stops today with that technically number 54 crew, and I don't think I don't think that swap has went too well. But in stage 2, Bubba, tough break for him. He blew a right rear tire as well, and he hit the wall. It broke the toe link, so they had to repair that. He was able to meet minimum speed after a caution for Austin Cindric shortly after that. So he was able to meet minimum speed, but they took that time to try and repair the car as best as they could and went, I think, at least 5 laps down at one point in the race. So very tough break for Bubba Wallace, who easily had a top 2, top 3 car from what it seemed before he had that incident. There was a weird incident. Chase Briscoe, he had some type of power issue, and that caused a caution to come out. He coasted almost a full lap around the track without any power, and then as soon as the caution comes out, boom, for some reason the car just cranks back up and he's good to go. But that actually caused a bit of strategy. Some people decided to come in and pit, and some decided to stay out. So some people that decided to stay out were Chase Elliott, Kyle Larson, Ryan Blaney, Ross Chastain, Christopher Bell, and a few other drivers. I think it was about 9-10 cars. And then Keselowski was the first car to pit, and Kevin Harvick did as well. So did Denny Hamlin. They all pitted, got some scuffed tires on. And on that restart, Kyle Larson, he had a big moment. He got really loose. Ross Chastain almost ran into him, but he checked up. Ross Chastain and Kyle Larson dropped way to the back into the 20s. And then Brad Keselowski and Denny Hamlin on those fresh tires were able to make their way up through the field and eventually pass Chase Elliott late in the stage, and Keselowski and Hamlin would finish 1-2 in stage number 2. And they seem to be really strong. Hamlin, not really surprised at all because he won this race in the spring. Brad Keselowski, that RFK car running well as well. And then in stage number 3, there was a caution. Carson Hocevar and Harrison Burton got together a little bit. Burton ended up spinning around. Larson decides to pit on that caution, and he drops all the way back to 29th, and then he makes his way all the way up to 10th, or the top 10 before green flag stops. So Kyle Larson really strong, as always, not surprised one bit about that. And at this point, Denny Hamlin and Tyler Reddick, they were controlling the race, first and second. Keselowski was running third. He was up there all day long. They cycle through to the lead, the same running order, Hamlin, Reddick, and Keselowski after green flag pit stops. For some reason, Christopher Bell decided to run a little bit long, and then he had another slow stop under green, I believe. So just that 20 crew, more like the 20 car, can't catch a break with the pit crew and pit stops. But that would not end the race. Drama would once again come up. Chris Buescher had a flat tire with 7 laps to go. That brought out a caution, and even more strategy and games being played. So Daniel Suarez decides to stay out on like 40, 50 lap old tires. And then Eric Jones, Kyle Busch, Joey Logano, they take 2 tires. And then Tyler Reddick, Denny Hamlin, Kyle Larson, Chase Elliott, and further back, they take 4 tires. And that set up a restart. That was also the choose order. It was Suarez, Jones, Busch, Logano, Reddick, and Hamlin. And Tyler Reddick has an incredible restart. Makes like a 3-wide move through the middle in turns 1 and 2. Makes his way up to 3rd, and then off of turn 4 coming to the white flag. Has a big run on Logano and Jones. Takes it to the bottom, all the way to the bottom, almost into the grass, and swoops back up in front of them, and goes on to take off and win the race. Tyler Reddick, the race winner at Kansas. That 45 car has now won 3 of the last 4 races at Kansas with 3 different drivers, which is a really cool stat. And as Matthew would probably like, I have the 45 Jordan car back there too for Kurt Busch's race win. But anyways, let's quickly go over the top 10. Reddick and Hamlin 1 and 2. Eric Jones 3rd. He was actually really strong today. He was in the top 5 for probably the second half of the race. Top 3, top 5. So great run for Eric Jones. Glad he was able to stay up there amidst all of the crazy drama that played out in those final 10 laps. Chase Elliott 6th. Kyle Busch 7th. Brad Keselowski 9th. Alex Bowman 10th. But just quickly, some post-race thoughts. Martin Truex Jr. I'll talk about Tyler Reddick first. Tyler Reddick has started this playoffs off very strong. A very good run last week at Darlington, and then obviously wins today at Kansas. This team, they might have found their playoff form. 2 races in a row with no major issues. I know Darlington, obviously there was the whole thing where he checked up and Ryan Newman almost ran into him, but other than that, no issues on pit road. So the 45 team in general, as a whole, they may have found something here and started to pick up their game. So, they might be able to make a deep playoff run as long as they keep this up, don't make any mistakes. They've had plenty of speed throughout the whole year. So as long as they just keep executing like this, they could be a Final 8, maybe even a Championship 4 contender. But great run for Tyler Reddick. Martin Truex Jr., though, on the other hand, the complete opposite. What can go wrong will go wrong for Martin Truex Jr. so far in the playoffs. At Darlington, I think what the problem was, I think he hit the wall in practice at Darlington, and then they just didn't fix the car, and then he was just off all day in race trim at Darlington. He ran in the 20s all day. I think he had a slow pit stop also, and then blowing a tire today at Kansas. So he goes from the regular season champ, tied with William Byron at the top, 30-something points above the cut line, to now I won't spoil it too bad, but he's below the cut line. So he could go from regular season champ to missing the first round, which is absolutely insane. And to go to Bristol of all places to have to try and race your way in, very tough feat coming up from Martin Truex Jr. But really, that's all I have to say about the race. I thought it was good. Kansas has become a very good mile-and-a-half racetrack with these next-gen cars. It's primarily the top lane is dominant, but you can make a pass on the bottom. You can make some slide jobs every now and then if you have a good enough car to do so. But yeah, that's really all I have to say about that. Matthew, go ahead and share some of your thoughts about the race, and go ahead and explain some more about what happened with these playoff drivers throughout the race at Kansas.
All right, so overall, what a great race it was today. I always love Kansas, especially with this new car. It seems like this new car at Kansas never disappoints when it comes to amazing racing. And so I got the playoff standings right here after today. And let's just go down through the line right here. Of course, the big news, Tyler Reddick won today, and now he is officially locked in to the second round, which, while Tyler Reddick may not have dominated today, he still had one of the best cars today. He was up front most of the day. And, I mean, he's starting off the playoffs very strong. Of course, my concern is still the pit crew. I mean, you just never know when this pit crew will screw up. That's the only thing I'm afraid of with this team. But other than that, this team is really fired off on all cylinders right now. So, I mean, congrats to Tyler Reddick, and we'll see how he does in the second round. Of course, Kyle Larson locked himself in last week, who pretty much had the best car today, but that one restart where he got loose pretty much killed his whole day. And I mean, he was able to get his way up to the front, but he was never able to get the lead back after that. But and then Denny Hamlin, 2 races in a row as well, who was leading a lot of laps towards the end, but this time a caution kind of screwed him over, and he took 4 tires like Tyler Reddick, but that restart pretty much killed him there. I don't know why in the world he left a big gap between, I think it was Kyle Busch in front of him and on the outside lane. I don't know why he left such a huge gap. I don't know if he just got a terrible restart or he just expected to just to fly by him, but that restart did not work out too well for him. So, but still a great points day, and I'm sure by the time during the race at Bristol, he's going to be able to lock himself in just on points. And then William Byron, he had himself an interesting day. He was in the top 10, and then next you know, he spun out. And then it seemed like after he spun out, the car wasn't the same after that. I don't know if it was because the diffuser was dragging. I don't know, but I mean, he's still 41 points to the good, which, hey, just like Hamlin, I'm sure sometime in the middle of the race he'll be able to lock himself in with points. Now, Brad Keselowski, there was a lot of questions coming in with RFK at Kansas this weekend. Um, I mean, it sounded like they didn't have the best speed in the spring race, and that was their concern. But Keselowski did not disappoint today. He still had a very fast car. He was up leading laps at one point, and he even won the second stage. He did win the second stage. Never mind. Uh, and now he's plus 33, and he's going into Bristol with, I mean, with a lot of momentum. And of course, last year he led a lot of laps at Bristol last year until he had a tire problem. So I see Keselowski being strong there next weekend. Ryan Blaney, plus 25. He had a very solid day. I mean, quiet day, except for that one pit stop where he was absolutely going off on his crew on the radio. But other than that, it was a very quiet day for Blaney, and still solid. And then Kyle Busch, plus 24. Oh, this team gives me a heart attack. It's not even funny. I mean, literally, I'm sweating in practice sessions now, worrying if this guy's going to put in the car, destroy the car in practice. And when you know a tire blew, and I wasn't even surprised. I mean, this is. It just seems like this team is always crashing cars in practice. I don't know why. So yeah, 2 weeks in a row, he had to start dead last, basically. But they did not give up. They were able to get in the top 10, and of course, they did play some strategy, and they were able to finish seventh. So, and somehow top 10 after all that. But please, next weekend, keep the car off the wall. Please, I don't want to be stressing out in practice. It's literally practice. Take it easy, please. Um, hey, that is his best track though. 9 wins there, so hopefully it's a promising weekend next weekend. Um, Ross Chastain plus 18. Once again, Ross Chastain is surprising me. I mean, last weekend, he came out of nowhere for his top five, and this weekend, he seemed like he was in the top 10 a lot, which once again, it's surprising me considering before the playoffs he had zero momentum. So, I mean, great for Ross Chastain. Good for him. Okay, Chris Buescher plus 13. He had himself a very good day today, in the top 10 most of the day. But unfortunately, a tire blew. Literally was like 7 laps to go. And that pretty much killed his day of a good points day, basically. But I mean, I don't think it's all doom and gloom for Chris Buescher because we're literally going to the track that he won last year. And RFK in general last year was very strong at. So uh, I don't think it's all doom and gloom for Chris Buescher. I think he'll be able to bounce back from this. Christopher Bell, who is also plus 13. Man, that pit crew is so comical to watch. It's just so funny to just watch this 20 car basically have every single type of pit road issue you can think of. I mean, this is literally supposed to be like the top three best pit crew in the garage, and they're literally it's like a Space Jam. They lost all their powers. They don't know what they're doing now. But I feel bad for Christopher Bell. He seemed to have a good he seemed to have a good car today, and then those pit road issues is what hurt him today. So once again, so he's plus 13. Joe Logano plus 12, who literally was literally running with Kyle Busch most of the day around that 10th, 11th, 12th area most of the day. But that caution came out at the end, and he got very lucky with that pit strategy, and he was able to finish up in the top five. So definitely a big difference considering where they were before. But we'll see how they do at Bristol. I mean, Penske this year has not been the strongest. I don't feel confident about Joe Logano this year, but we'll see how he does at Bristol next weekend. Kevin Harvick plus 7, who had himself a very good day. He was in the top 5, top 10 most of the day. He comes out plus 7. Okay. First car of the playoffs. I cannot believe we're even talking about this. Is Martin Truex Jr. Wow. Literally lap 4, he's out of the race. What a start to the playoffs for this team. I mean, he's literally the regular season champion, and he's out of the play. He's literally like outside the cutoff line now on the first round. If he somehow does not make it through this first round, this is pretty much going to be the biggest collapse of a star in the playoffs here in this playoff format era, because he's literally the regular season champion, and he could be knocked out of the first round. Just think about that. I mean, it's one thing if you get knocked out like the round of 8, but this is the first round. This is supposed to be a cakewalk for this team, a piece of cake, and they're literally off the cutoff line. I mean, Darlington, they just sucked, and then today they blew a tire. So I mean, even before they blew the tire, that car was dropping like a rock, which was absolutely strange to see. So I don't know what's going on with this team. And I know the TV crew is saying that Bristol is not one of his best tracks, but I mean, I still can't count out Martin Truex Jr. because he's Martin Truex Jr. and he's in a Joe Gibbs racing car. I mean, I still feel like he should be able to move on to the second round, but I mean, this is so weird to see this team who was so good in the regular season won the regular season championship, and now they suck right now, which I don't get it. So yeah, good luck to him next weekend. But man, what a terrible day for Martin Truex Jr. fans. I feel bad for you guys. And then Bubba Wallace minus 19, which man, that broke my heart seeing him blew a tire, literally running second place. I mean, he looked like. I mean, I don't know what would happen at the end of this race if he was still up there. Maybe he could have won, maybe not. But he was up there to have a very great day in points and possibly be above the cutoff line. But now he's in minus 19 and going to a track where he hasn't had too much success at Bristol. So unfortunately for him. And then of course Ricky Stenhouse Jr., Michael McDowell, they're Ricky Stenhouse Jr. is minus 22, who still technically could point his way in, but I mean, in Bristol it is a good track for him, but I don't feel like that's happening. And then Michael McDowell minus 40, which he's pretty much a must win at this point. So yeah, that is the playoff standings at the Kansas. Congrats to Tyler Reddick, and once again, a great race at Kansas.
All right, so quickly, I just want to semi kind of predict the four that I think will be out after Bristol. I think the bottom three, McDowell, Stenhouse, and Bubba, I think they're out. I don't think they're going to be able to capitalize. And for the last spot, oh man, I don't know. Ugh. I think I just have to stick with Truex. Honestly, like I just don't know. Like it's gonna take somebody above
Wow,
the cut line. It's gonna take somebody above the cut line to have a problem for him to get knocked
wow,
out. I think. So if nobody has a problem, which it's Bristol, anything can happen, and we saw plenty of playoff drivers today have issues. But if I don't see Martin Truex Jr., I even hate to say this, I don't even see him being in the top 10, like finishing in the top 10, having
wow.
top 10 speed. So I'm a
I
complete.
mean, he's Martin
I'm
Truex
fading
Jr.
Truex.
That's
I,
Martin
I'm
Truex
fade.
Jr.
I know. I know. I'm. It's a hot take, but I'm fading Martin Truex
You really
Jr.
think he's
going
going to
into
have
this week.
three bad races in a row? You really think he's going to have three bad races in a row?
I'm not saying he's gonna have a bad race at Bristol, but I just don't like. I don't think they're gonna bring winning speed, and if he's not gonna bring winning speed, then I don't think he's gonna be able to make it out of the round. So, hot take. I get. I mean, I could write it on a sticky note, but I'm just gonna say it as it is. I don't think Martin Truex Jr. is gonna be able to outrun. I mean, Logano, maybe he may be able to outrun him because Logano's been kind of off this postseason. But I don't see him outrunning Kevin Harvick. I don't see him outrunning Christopher Bell. I don't see him outrunning Chris Buescher. Ross Chastain, maybe, but he's 18 above the cut line. So, yeah, I'm going to call it as it is. I think those bottom four, those are the four that get eliminated. But yeah, Matthew, who do you think is going to make it and not make it into the next round based on the standings we have right now?
So I got McDowell, Stenhouse, Bubba Wallace, and I know I predicted Ross Chastain in our playoff predictions, but he has been surprisingly exceeding expectations. So I don't know if I could say that anymore. I I might have to go with Joey Logano to be quite honest with you. And I mean, there's just something off with Penske. I mean, I will say the playoffs so far, he hasn't been bad, but he's just kind of been mid, to be quite honest with you. And I just think he's gonna be knocked out the first round. That's my opinion.
All right, those are the guys we think are going to be eliminated. Quickly before we wrap the video up, just want to throw one quick silly season announcement out there. But John Hunter Nemechek announced that he will be driving for Legacy Motor Club in the number 42 car next season. this opportunity came up a few weeks ago, and it's kind of been stirring in the social media world that it'd be rumored that he might be taking this opportunity. So just wanted to throw that out there. It's a tough balance, honestly. Like if I were him, I'd probably be it'll be a hard pick for me as well to, take a leap to the 42. Like yes, they're getting Toyota. They're gonna be with Toyota. They're gonna be part of TRD and all that stuff. But it's just a tough leap that he's willing to take compared to being in the Xfinity Series, winning races every week. So hopefully, it's a good move for him to go over there. He's able to help build that team along with Eric Jones with Toyota next year. But Matthew, what do you have to say about that, or anything else before you go ahead and finish this video up?
Well, first and foremost, congratulations, John Hunter Nemechek. Um, I mean, it is a little bit, there's a little bit of an up and down risky move here. I mean, of course, the upside is they're going to be with Toyota. They're going to be getting pretty much the Toyota support compared to what they're getting with Chevrolet right now. But the downside is we literally just saw a great prospect in his rookie year, basically dead last in the driver's standings, and they pretty much rage quitted, basically. So there is a little bit of concern there, but I think with the Toyota's support, I don't think that's going to be that bad. I don't think it's going to be like that again, but I don't expect him to make it in the playoffs unless he pulls a surprise win at like Daytona, Talladega. But yeah, congratulations to Nemechek on that. Absolutely deserved. And ironically, he's running the same number his father drove back in the day, the number 42 number. That was like back in the 90s, I think. 90s, early 2000s, maybe. But oh, before we close this out, all right, Jimmy, explain why your driver decided to throw a baby fit on his teammate on pit road when literally it wasn't Larson's fault. Larson didn't do anything. Explain.
Yeah, I was kind of lost too. I just don't think Chase knew that Keselowski was merging out of pit road and basically crowded Larson to where Larson had to move over and run into Chase. So, obviously it's a silly look. But yeah, I think once both of them see the replay, they'll probably talk it out real quick and be like, oh, Larson didn't intentionally try to come over and knock Chase off of pit road. But yeah, it is what it is. Silly mistake. We'll move on. He has two top tens in the playoffs, which is good. So hopefully he can build that momentum and maybe, fingers crossed, knock on wood, he can hopefully get a win before the season ends, because that's pretty much all he's going for at this point. But anyways, yeah, Kansas done, Bristol next week, final race of the first round. Who's going to make it in? Who's going to make it out? Find out this week. Our recap will be after the race sometime next week. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. We'll see you guys in the next one. Hope you guys enjoy the rest of your day, and see you guys later.